10 years now. I started out as a care partner in one of our communities. I'm also currently working from home, so if you hear a little voice, that's my daughter Matilda. She's 3. Yeah, she's like pointing to me. That's me. Yes. So like I said, I have been with the company for 10 years. I started out as a care partner in the communities, and I really loved it. So I'm excited to be here with you all today. As Kayla said, she doesn't have any sewing experience, and really all that I know was passed on to me from my grandmother and my mom. My grandmother could applique like no one's business, and she was an amazing seamstress, and I think my love for that came from her. I have a little bit of sewing experience, not too terribly much. My mom made all my dresses when I was little. I am not that crafty with my daughter, but I do love sewing little projects and doing cross stitching and things like that. So today, what we are talking about is how we can help from home. And excuse me, I'm so sorry. So what we can do from your own apartment or at home to be involved in everything that's going on in the world today. So it's really been fun trying to find ways to be connected to the world while we're all separated. So it's fun to find creative ways to support each other and feel that connection. So what we are wanting to do is sew some masks, some cloth reusable washable masks for different reasons. You might have seen or maybe have already started a similar project to this, but there are starting to be across the country different hospitals or organizations that are reaching out and asking for people at home to be sewing face masks. Similar to the ones you see like at the dentist's office or in a doctor's office, just in preparation for the shortage of medical masks. It's not meant to be a replacement, but we are seeing a shortage across the country. And so the mask we're wanting to make and show you how to make today is just in preparation of that, and also really helpful for other organizations, because right now the medical field is not using these in replacement, but they're using them as a cover over their medical grade masks. That way they can use the medical grade mask longer, because typically they change those out between patients, but because of the shortage, they're having to go all day wearing the same one. So if they have this cloth cover that's washable, that's protecting the medical mask underneath from splashes or just the day-to-day things that they're encountering. So it helps it last longer. And then you have other groups that might like a mask that aren't considered necessary. So like chemotherapy patients, I've seen some groups reaching out because their immune systems are compromised. So they typically will wear those on a day-to-day, but they don't have access to masks right now because they're needed for the medical field. So there are other groups that are needing these types of masks to help protect them and help them stay healthy. But it's not meant to fight off the coronavirus. It's just additional help. So we are wanting to show you guys and give you some resources to make your own. If you do not have access to your own materials right now, so if you're low on your stash of material or fabric, let your resident services person know, and we will give them some resources and places to look to try and get you supplies should you want to participate. So Kayla, is there anything you want to add at this point?
No, I think what you've said so far is perfect. I'll just reiterate that these aren't to be used in place of you know, the medical mask that they're giving you. It's just as a cover, as she was saying. And then also it could be used for like those chemo residents whose immune system is compromised, like she was saying. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not using these instead of, it's just to help with the shortage of them, to be able to use less of the medical masks. Linda, you say when you're ready to show the video or the slide, and I will get it up.
Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is how to get prepared in starting to sew these masks. So Kayla has a lovely graphic that has been created by our marketing team. Thank you, Shannon. That she's going to pull up, but we do just want to be conscious as we're creating these about making sure that we're being as sanitary and safe as we can. Okay, so the first step, I'm sure you've heard of it, is washing your hands. We have talked so much about this, so I'm certain that you all are very aware of the best protocol to wash your hands. Kayla, do you think it's necessary to go over those details again? Okay, so we want to make sure we're using lots of soap and thoroughly washing for 30 to 60 seconds before we even start. Then our second step is something I hadn't necessarily thought about before talking about this, but disinfect your work area. So we want to make sure that the space that you're going to be using, the table you're using to cut your fabric, maybe even the scissors if you use them for other things, you want to disinfect that, and your machine as well. If you need help with that, it sounds like Kayla will talk about it in a minute, but the housekeeping is someone you could also reach out to if you would like help disinfecting your space. Kayla, do you have things to add?
Yeah, so you can also reach out to your resident services director, and they can get you like the Clorox wipes or the Lysol wipes that it's like our version of the Lysol wipes and things like that. And then just any of the disinfecting items that if you don't have in your own apartment, like we can help you get that as well.
Perfect. Yes, we are here to help. We will get it done. The next step is after you have created your mask, housekeeping will be washing these before we hand them out or donate them. So, Kayla, who are you wanting them to give their masks?
Yeah, I would just give them to your resident services director. They're kind of your point person in this, and then if they have questions, they can reach out to me or Linda, and we can help get those answered. But your contact person through any of this will be your resident services director. And if she doesn't know, that's okay. She'll find out for you. But just after you finish a project, and you can go ahead and give it to them, or you can, you know, keep a stockpile until you're ready and until you're finished and you want to just launder them all together, that's fine too. But we will take them and launder them. Just give them to your resident services director.
Yeah, no need to do that on your own. We will make sure of that. Okay, perfect. I like it, nice and easy. So after all that is done, then we're ready to start sewing. We have found a video to share with you of someone creating the mask, the pattern that we've provided you, along with the written instructions. But I think it's helpful, especially when I'm doing a sewing project, I like to see it first because it makes all the written instructions make a little bit more sense, because it's hard to paint a picture sometimes with just words. So we have found a video for you. Before we show that, I just want to share a little bit that I found this video through an article from Deacon Hospital that is in Evansville, Indiana. So it's kind of neat to me to find this. That hospital actually has reached out to the public and asked for the people to make masks and to donate them, and they're serving as a hub for passing them out to other locations that might need them, such as homeless shelters or chemotherapy groups. But my family actually is from Evansville, Indiana, and my brother worked at this hospital for like 5 or 6 years as an x-ray technician. So I just thought it was neat that I found that hospital asking for help, and they provided a video as well. So Kayla has that, and we will take a look. It's about 7 minutes long. So let us know if we need help with the volume of the video.
Can you hear it okay?
I don't even see it moving yet. Is it on?
It is on. Can you, Shannon, let me copy it to you. Can you show it?
Send it to me and I will share and see if it goes better.
Okay. Well, while they're doing that, I'll talk a little bit about the mask. Again, it's a pretty standard, simple design. It calls for elastic to go around the ears. So on each side, it's basically a rectangle with the elastic around the ears on the side. On the instruction sheet that I provided, there's some tips at the bottom. So if you don't have elastic or you don't have flat elastic, there's a few other options, as well as using cloth ties, so strips of cloth that they could use as a tie. So we understand that supplies are a little hard to come by these days, as everyone is at home needing things to do. So elastic might be hard to find.
All right, I've got it. I'm pulling it up. 2 seconds. Sorry for the dead air. It's loading.
No worries.
That's okay. I appreciate you doing this.
Get started. Okay, sharing now.
And I am joined by Cheryl Wathen, a Vice President and Chief Financial Officer here at Deaconess. And in this video, we're going to show you how to make a mask. There's been a lot made about personal protective equipment and a shortage right now at Deaconess, at the hospitals and the clinics. We are supplied, but it's hard to tell what's going to happen with COVID-19. And so if nothing else, the community can get involved. And if you like to sew, you can make a mask.
Okay, well, the materials that we're using is actually 100% cotton, and the material is cut into strips of material that are 6 by 9. So you'll notice that they're basically a rectangle. And as you go to make your mask, you're also going to need some elastic. So we're using the 1/4 inch flat elastic. Each piece, you'll need 2, is basically 7 inches in length. The mask itself is, the first part at least, is a pretty basic, construction, if you will.
How long does it take to do one?
It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Obviously, when you first start out, it's probably closer to 20 minutes. As you make several, you'll get a lot faster. So we're going to start on the 9-inch side of the material. And I'm going to start about midway through. And the reason for that is whenever I complete this first step, I'm going to have to turn this right side out. And so I need to be able to have space in there to do that. The size of the seam is basically about 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch. Basically the space that I need to easily work with on the foot of the machine. So we're going to sew down almost to the very end of this first piece. And we're going to stop as we get closer to the end, and we're going to take our elastic and we're going to basically put that in between the 2 pieces of material. And you'll see later why we're going to do it that way. I'm going to put it to where it's basically angled there. So we're going to sew down here towards the very end. we're going to turn. I'm going to make certain that my elastic is out of the way because I don't want to catch it in there. And as I get closer to the end, I'm going to stop again, and I'm basically going to pull the elastic back into the seam, the other end of the elastic, and I'm going to sew it exactly the way I sewed the one on the other end. I'm going to stop, I'm going to turn, and now this particular seam is just going to be a nice long seam, so this one's pretty easy. As I get closer to the end, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take my other piece of elastic. Remember, I said we needed 2. And again, I'm going to repeat and do exactly what I did before. So I'm going to slide it in between the material. So again, we're going to turn. We're going to make certain our elastic is out of the way. And then as we get closer to the end, we're going to reach in. And this time we've got a little bit less room to get in there and grab our elastic because we're almost to the point where we've completed our first step. So we're going to grab our elastic, and then we're going to get close to finishing this off for at least this part. Turn. Now remember, this is the side that we started on, but we're not going to actually sew to where we started. We're going to stop about 2 inches away from that because we have to be able to reach in and turn our finished product. That's probably about right.
So then you can turn it inside out.
We can turn it inside out. When we do that, this is what it's going to look like. And you'll notice now what we've got is we've got basically a rectangle piece of material on both sides, and then you'll notice that we've got our elastic on the ends. So this is the part that sometimes I struggle with because, you know, these are kind of hard to get exactly even. I may end up actually taking it apart if I don't like the way it looks and redoing it. But we're going to start out this way, and we're going to actually do 3 different tucks. We feel like that gives us the most protection. And whenever you do the tucks, you need to do them all in the same direction. And likewise, when you go to the other side and you do the tucks, you also want to do them in the same direction that you started over here. So basically now our mask is, we've got everything tucked in, so we're ready to do the finishing touches. So I'm going to go back to my machine and we're going to finish this off. So I'm going to start kind of in the middle here, and I'm going to have to watch as I get up here because I don't want to hit a pin. Yesterday, in addition to going through different levels of material, I think I also hit a pin. So we're going to have to pull our pins out as we get closer. Again, we're going to go right to the very close to the end, but not quite, about 1/4 of an inch away. We're going to turn and go down this next side. Slow down a little bit as I get closer here. It'll be a little bit easier on my machine. Pull this last pin out. And now we're on the very last part.
Home stretch.
But not quite, because one of the things that I want to do is I want to reinforce the stitching. So now we're right back to where we started, but to make certain that it is stronger, I'm going to go ahead and go around it one more time, and I'm going to try to hit the same stitches I did before. I probably won't exactly hit those, so that probably won't be quite as maybe as pretty as it should be. You'll notice we've already stitched over this part once, so it's a little bit easier for the machine the second time around. Okay, we are now at the very end.
I'm excited to see the finished product.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see it. So this is our finished product.
Looks great. I love it.
What do you think?
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah. This is actually the adult size. There is also a child's pattern as well. It's just a little bit smaller, but basically it's made the exact same way.
And we'll get all that information on how to do that. And the way you have to do is send us an email at connect@deaconess.com, and then we'll reply and show you how to make one and then how to get it to us. Ideally, be.
Thank you, Shannon. I was going to say, you can go ahead and cut that.
I couldn't find a mouse, sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. Okay. So we won't necessarily be giving them to Deaconess Hospital since they're in Evansville, Indiana, and that's not really close for most of our communities, but your resident services director will be able to, will help give resources as to where these could be used. So I'm very excited to see what we can do and what we can make. Kayla, do you have anything you want to talk about at this point? No?
I don't. Is there any questions so far? None so far. Are you guys excited to start
It
sewing?
looks like we have a
Oh, wait,
question at
Boulevard?
Boulevard.
Let me see. Okay, go ahead.
I had to take a phone call. What size do you cut the fabric?
So the adult size is 9 by 6. And we did provide a pattern to your resident services director. So you can cut that out and not have to measure every time, especially if you get in the groove of sewing and you don't want to stop and measure each time. So if you weren't able to get the instructions or the pattern, which I think the instructions should tell you as well what the size is, please contact your resident services person and they'll help you with that. Because I think there is instructions for a child size as well, if you're interested in that. Do you have another question for me? No? Perfect. Okay, like I said, there were a few options if you don't have elastic. So we added that to the instructions at the bottom. If you, again, have any trouble with supplies or you're out of something, let your resident services person know, and we will do our best to get supplies to you. We do want to talk a little bit about what we would like to do this sort of event with you all again in the next week or two. And I would love for you to come and maybe do a little show and tell of what you've created. If you've found any tricks or tips, if you want to share that, or even just maybe a picture of what you've made, if you want to give that to your resident services person, if you don't feel comfortable sharing or having the spotlight on you. But I would love to see what you've created, and I'd love to make a little group of all of us kind of together and connecting with that. Next time, like Kayla will put it on the schedule, but the next time, if you want to even join this event from your apartment, we could have some time where we sew together. That's an option as well. So again, it will be on the schedule. If you want to reach out to your resident services person, they can help get you set up so that you can have the meeting, the events available to you in your apartment. So that would be really fun. I would love to sew with you. Let me see if I had any other thoughts. Yeah, I don't. That's all the thoughts in my head. Does anyone have anything else they want to say, or have they already created a mask? I think I heard a few of our communities were already on top of it and had taken it upon themselves to make a mask. The other thing quickly is I might try to find a few more pattern options for next time as well. So people that want to get a little bit more advanced, I've seen some really neat masks that have the adjustable nose and makes a even tighter seal against the face. So I can create a few options for those that want to get a little bit more intricate with their mask design, and we can provide those next time. But is there anyone that's already created a mask that wants to share with us or share their experience or any tricks or tips? I'm not seeing any.
Hey. Kayleen, are you on here? No? I thought she was on the phone number or the one, but maybe not anymore. Okay, well, I think that that's a wrap for today. So if you guys have any questions that come up as you guys are starting to start your projects, reach out to your resident services director, and or if you, like Linda said, if you need supplies to even get started, let us know, and we'll go from there. But I appreciate you guys joining us today.
Yes, thank you. It's been lovely to see your faces.
Linda,
so
thank
nice.
you. You're so awesome.
Thank you all.
Okay,
See you
I'll talk
next
to you guys
time.
later. Bye.
Bye.